All right, guys, welcome back to another channel. Or what? To another channel. Yeah, welcome back to another channel, bitch. Hey guys, welcome back to another video on this channel, man. Back at it. UFC 281 just happened. First of all, amazing card. Literally from early prelims to the last fight. Every single fight was lit. So man, if you weren't able to watch the whole thing, you definitely missed out on a few fights, but that's all right, because I'm gonna cover them real quick, man. Oh, and also before I actually dive into UFC 281, I did want to say rest in peace Anthony Rumble Johnson, ultimate legend, fought John Jones. Like, bro's the ultimate badass. So rest in peace, man. All right, let me actually start off with the last fight on the card. I'm gonna do things a little bit differently today. I'm gonna just jump into this Izzy fight just because I have so much shit to say about it. Because I mean, for one, I think this fight just shows how crazy the sport is. Because only in MMA can you be winning 4 out of 5 rounds and still end up losing the fight. Like, Izzy deadass won, I would say, like 20 out of the 23 minutes. I think there was legit just like 2 minutes left and he would have actually won. But dude, Alex Pereira, we all knew it going in. He has that left hook. And that left hook, bruh, like, just a threat of the left hook, you know, last minute, he could pull some crazy shit off, like he did here. The final, literally, the last 2 minutes left. Some crazy, like, a la Leon Edwards type shit. Gets Izzy with, like, I think he got him with the cross first, then the hook, then, like, he just started throwing shit. And it was a standing TKO. I have been seeing a lot of things about, the ref called it too early. I think Izzy was kind of mixed about it too, but me personally, I think it was technically a little bit early, but I think if they kept going, it wouldn't have changed anything. Just from me watching the fight, I thought just another knee, a few more punches, and Izzy would actually be knocked out. It was a standing TKO. I also understand Izzy as a fighter is like, fuck it, let me actually get knocked out cold. Let me just go all the way. Let me just do it. So I could see his side of it, but personally, I think it was a good call. Izzy on like Flagrant, even on Ariel Helwani's podcast, he was basically like, yeah, I understand why the ref called it. It makes sense to me. And yeah, you live with it. Also, the way that he's been handling his loss is actually like a champion. He's been super cool. He's been on Flagrant, been on Ariel Helwani's show. I believe he did Hot Ones, he was saying on Ariel's. So, and then obviously I'm also a huge fan of his, still a huge fan of his. And this fight was easily the most entertaining fight we've seen of him in so long. We saw him wrestling. We saw him just completely, like, I feel like the second round he definitely lost, but the first, third, fourth round clearly won. End of the first round, he almost knocked dude out. Like that's why this shit is so crazy, because it's literally like the second kickboxing fight that they had, Izzy's last kickboxing fight, where Izzy got knocked out. In the second round, Izzy almost knocked Alex Pereira out, and then in the final third round, Alex just got him with the left hook, slept him. It's pretty much a similar story here. Honestly, I think he deserves the immediate rematch. He's probably gonna get the immediate rematch, and whenever that rematch happens to be, I personally, my prediction is still always going to be Izzy. I think Izzy wins a rematch. I feel like he'll probably focus more on the wrestling and try to avoid the leg kicks, because he said because of Alex's leg kicks, he hit like a peroneal nerve in his leg and he basically couldn't move as well. I think if he focuses on that, I think in terms of pure MMA, Izzy's definitely better. Dude, this is also the craziest shit. Also, the craziest thing about this, Alex Pereira definitely loses to Robert Whittaker. I feel like he might even lose to Marvin Vettori. Jared Cannonier, he probably loses to. Dude, he might even lose to Derek Brunson, because Brunson's such a good wrestler. And so that's the craziest part, is that Alex loses to pretty much everyone else in the top 5. Izzy beat all of those people, but Izzy for some reason can't get past Alex Pereira, and like, it always seems like he gets caught in the last few minutes, and it is crazy. It's so crazy. Yo, also UFC did Izzy dirty. Ever since he lost, they changed his picture. I'm pretty sure last week is a way better picture when it was a more recent picture where his hair was different. I think he looked even more jacked. I'm sure he looks more jacked now. But it was definitely a better picture. The UFC did him dirty by just changing this shit. But yeah, just watching Izzy during his interviews, he's basically saying that he's going to take a few months off, just relax. Apparently his knee's kind of fucked, so he's going to check that out, make sure that's good. check up on a bunch of shit, and then go for the immediate rematch. Which, I mean, bro, that's gonna be lit. Like I said, I'm still gonna be rooting for the Style Bender. I think he still takes it. But yeah, it should be dope. But now let's actually jump down to the early prelims real quick. I'm gonna just skim through these. I'm not gonna be too focused, but real quick, this Carlos Ulberg. This fight was crazy. Carlos Ulberg obviously trains out of City Kickboxing with Izzy. Dude was an absolute beast. It was an absolute clinic. And this fight was actually insane. I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram or Twitter or some shit. They both dropped each other at the same time. Check this out. Yo, like, check this out. Both dropped it, knocked each other down. Crazy as shit. Crazy as shit. This fight also super entertaining. Matt Frivola, he's from New York, so he's fighting at MSG, home crowd. Knocked dude out. Super entertaining fight. Moving on to the prelims, Molly McCann lost to Erin Blanchfield. This was actually crazy. Erin was the favorite going into it, but she completely dominated Molly. I thought it would be somewhat competitive, but nah, Erin completely dominated her. Got her with a Kimura. It was insane. Now, this Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Spann, I talked about this last week. I was like, yo, this is a fight to definitely look out for, and it definitely was. I just didn't expect Ryan Spann to be that good, and I also didn't. I thought Dominic Reyes would come in and be like just better overall, but yeah, no. First round, a minute, almost like what, a minute and a half in, Ryan got him, knocked him out cold, just absolutely dropped him. Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy. And finally, the last fight on the prelims, Brad Riddell, Renato Moicano. Moicano had an amazing fight, really, really great fight. Got a rear naked choke on Brad Riddell, made him tap. But then after, go check it out on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. But his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, dude was just going off. It was a great post-fight interview. Definitely check that out. Now we move on to the first fight in the main card. Dan Hooker, Claudio Puelles. Bro, so Izzy basically called Dan Hooker a psychopath, but me watching the fight and also doing jiu-jitsu, I know Dan Hooker is a complete psychopath, because Claudio literally had, I believe he had like a heel hook or like an ankle lock, and then he had a knee bar. And that knee bar, Dan's right leg was completely flattened out. Claudio was just cranking, and I honestly watching it, I was like, it hurt. My knee hurt watching it. That's how crazy that shit was. But then you just see Dan, he's just there, just stone-faced killer, just looking at him. I know Claudio, he was like cranking the knee bar, and he just looks back and is like, yo, this dude doesn't feel shit. Like, this dude's crazy. And then, yeah, man, after that, Dan completely dominated on the striking. Claudio didn't want to stand. He kept trying to pull guard, trying to go at his legs, trying to grab his legs. Dan just got out the way. Ended up landing a really, really good teep right to the liver. He had a bunch of those, actually. He had a bunch of just liver kicks, just a bunch of teep kicks, roundhouse kicks right to the body. Claudio kept wanting to pull guard, going at his legs. Dan just kind of stepped out the way. And eventually, after like the 8th time Claudio tried to pull guard and dropped, the ref was like, all right, that's enough. Dan Hooker got the TKO. I am super, super happy for Dan Hooker to get back in the win column. Dan Hooker is like the ultimate badass. So really, really looking forward to his next fight. Then we got Frankie Edgar, Chris Gutierrez. I said in my prediction that I had Chris winning, but I wanted it to be a lot more competitive than it was, because it was Frankie Edgar's last fight, ultimate legend, and I wanted him to go out with a bang. But I mean, I guess fortunately for Chris, he kind of came in, just dominated the whole thing, landed a crazy flying knee right to the chin, just slept Frankie. And then I know right after Chris was also super emotional. He was like, yo, it's just crazy to send out a legend like that. But hey, man, that is the crazy ass sport of MMA. So it was incredibly cool to see all of MSG, even like during the whole fight week, just everyone was chanting Frankie's name, giving him all of his flowers. That was super dope. So yeah, man, hopefully Frankie does some dope shit. And yeah. Also, real quick, I forgot to mention, Brad Riddell posted something on his Instagram basically saying that he wants to take some time off from fighting, because literally since he was like 15 or 17 or some crazy shit, he's been fighting at least once every year. So he's like, yo, after this loss, I want to take some time off, spend time with my family, all that dope stuff. So again, with him, I wish him all the best. Hopefully he comes back with that fire and does some crazy shit again. But yeah, moving on from Frankie Edgar, Chris Gutierrez, we got Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. Bruh, this was everything I was expecting it to be and more. I think what makes Dustin Poirier so much fun to watch for me personally is just how good he is technically in this like technical boxing, I guess. Where when you look at Michael Chandler fighting, it's so explosive, it's so wild. Like, I feel like he almost had Dustin Poirier knocked out. He had him basically at the knockout point, but he kept just being wild and throwing a bunch of like looping punches, and then he went for a takedown. But like, I think even Dustin Poirier said in his post-fight interview that if Michael Chandler would just like kind of slow down and just start throwing straights, he would probably have him out of there. And that's where Dustin excels. Dustin finds the actual, he just times his punches so perfectly. Like, he looks for that perfect opening, throws a perfect punch, and he's not wild about it. He's just so accurate with his punches, and they're so precise, so fast. It's so much fun to watch. And the crazy thing with this fight is that, as you can kind of see in round 3, it went to the ground. I think the whole time even Michael Chandler had a bunch of takedowns. He had 3 takedowns, yeah. Michael Chandler was trying to take him down, but then in the 3rd round, they basically had a scramble. Dustin Poirier ended up on top. Somehow got Michael Chandler's back, rear naked choke. And then after, with the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, Charles Oliveira and his team joked around about Dustin Poirier having a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And in the post-fight conference, he's like, hey, who don't got jiu-jitsu? That was a super cool ass moment, man. Bro, but either way, whoever they end up fighting next is always a must-watch. I saw today Eddie Alvarez called Michael Chandler out to run him back for a 3rd time. Because for those of you guys who don't know, they've already fought twice in Bellator. Both of those fights were absolutely insane. So Eddie Alvarez is currently a free agent, might get picked up by the UFC. And if he does, then Michael Chandler, Eddie Alvarez for a 3rd time, must watch. I think it'd be super dope. Dustin Poirier, on the other hand, I mean, this lightweight division's absolutely stacked. Now, since Volk vs. Islam is official in Perth, and then I think you have Beneil Dariush versus Charles Oliveira. Then whoever's left, you give to Dustin Poirier. Like, honestly, I would not be mad at all if we got Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. That'd be a dope-ass fight. Him versus Fiziev would be an amazing fight. Like, there's so many options here. Yeah, man, they're all amazing. This lightweight division, amazing. And we got the first championship fight, Zhang Weili versus Carla Esparza. Called it. Zhang's an absolute monster. Honestly, I didn't expect her grappling to be as good as it was, because Carla obviously just wanted to shoot pretty much all the time, and every time she did, Zhang was just so much more athletic, so much stronger. She ended up getting the submission. Like, she got the crucifix on the arm and got the rear naked. She had Carla was holding onto one of her wrists. Zhang pulled the wrist out, got the rear naked, got the choke, and that was super cool to see. In that Zhang basically beat her at her game. That was super cool. And yeah, man, now she's the champ again, so it's super dope. Now I wonder what they do with Rose Namajunas. I wonder if Rose and Carla go at it, which would be a repeat of probably the most boring fight ever in UFC history. Because honestly, I'm not sure if they give Zhang Rose right away. Like, I mean, as we can see here, just looking at the standings, like, Rose is ranked number 2, Carla's 1 because she just lost. But like, who else? I don't know who else you match up with Zhang. Maybe you have Carla and Rose actually go at it for another time. Just pray it's not a boring fight. And then whoever wins that gets title shot again. Or you have Amanda Lemos, who's been going off, and she won last week, in a great way. So she could honestly say that, hey, she wants a title shot next. Maybe you go Amanda versus Rose. Whoever wins that gets title shot. I mean, there's a bunch of options here. But yeah, man, strawweight's looking decent. Low-key is looking decent, man. Then yeah, man. Finally, we had the championship fight, Izzy versus Alex Pereira. Already spoke about it, but yeah, man, I am very much looking forward to the rematch of this fight. I think it's gonna be super cool. I'm a biased Izzy fan, so I'll always be rooting for him, man. So even if they do have a rematch, I'm gonna be going for Izzy. It still will be an amazing fight, but yeah, man. All right, guys, that was it for the recap of UFC 281. Again, this was probably one of the best cards we've had so far this year. Super lit. And with that, be sure to check out all the links in the description. At least it's something I do. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube-y stuff. Yeah, man, I'm out here. Peace.